Hey, I'm Pete, I'm the CEO of Dishpatch, and we're bringing the UK's best restaurants home. Now, you might have heard of food delivery, a market forecast to grow by 10 times to 2030 to $350 billion globally. But when was the last time you had an amazing takeaway? Maybe it's where you live. You've moved to the country and there's not many options available in your area. Maybe it's the food you like. Not everything travels well on a scooter. Or maybe your favourite restaurant doesn't do takeaway. Well, we solve those problems. Dishpatch delivers the UK's best restaurants to every home in the UK. So, how does it work? Well, we only partner with the UK's best restaurants. The tastemakers, the trendsetters, the award winners. Restaurants prepare the food with their own chefs in their restaurant. We portion and package the food and send out across the UK. You heat and finish the food at home in your own kitchen to create the most amazing feast. No cooking skills required. Don't just take our word for it. In our first 8 weeks of operation, over 1,000 diners have tried our product. From the north of Scotland to the bottom of Cornwall and everywhere in between, we've generated tens of thousands of pounds of revenue, and customers love our product. Seven months ago, it would not have been possible to build this business. But with COVID, everything has changed. Restaurants need to develop new revenue streams. This creates an opportunity to build an entirely new category. And we're the people to do that. We understand restaurants. I've worked in the restaurant industry for the past 10 years. The Financial Times described me as a new food innovator. My co-founder James is a designer and developer who's built products used by hundreds of thousands of people. Together, we're changing the way that you enjoy good food at home. With Dishpatch, we're bringing the UK's best restaurants home.
COVID-19 has meant there are now twice as many GP appointments that aren't happening face-to-face. And the telephone is being rapidly replaced by new video appointment technology. Well, the first thing is true. The number of telehealth appointments has doubled. But the second thing isn't. In fact, 99 out of 100 telehealth appointments are being done with the phone. And that number's going up and not down. A GP we work with down in Devon is trying to call 40 people a day, and he isn't using any other tools. This shift is causing problems. Traditionally, a visit was always better than a voice call because doctors had access to the staff, documentation, and software that take the grind out of face-to-face consultations. But now, with Impella, a voice call can be better than a visit. By connecting the phone calls in healthcare, we give doctors access to a library full of functionality built on top of that call. That library is a growing set of integrations, workflows, and applications. We start with easy, simple to deploy web tools to deliver and organize great phone calls. And then we roll out the kind of integrations and workflows that deepen our relationship with clinicians. But we even allow others to sell and deploy their applications through our phone calls. Our first application for call scheduling is live as a prototype, and we already have agreements with our first GP users and a national distributor. Christian and I are the team to build this business. We're both serial entrepreneurs who have previously exited successful startups. I previously sold the startup that I co-founded to a company called EMIS, which is the UK's largest provider of medical records, and while I was there, I helped to rebuild their partner program. And Christian raised millions of euros for his previous startup that had successfully commercialized the research he'd completed at Imperial College London. We both have a track record of success, we have a clear path to our goal, and we're working in a market where existing long-term growth has secretly been rapidly accelerated by COVID-19. We are Impella, and we're raising our seed round.
If we have another AI winter, it'll be because we couldn't feed our models with enough data. It won't be because the data didn't exist, and it won't be because the models were bad. it'll be because we couldn't get the data into the models. Let's look at a particularly bad example of this. Anti-money laundering in the world's banks, a $3 trillion a year problem. Over half the data remains unused. Industry false positive rates are over 98%, and banks have been fined $320 billion since the global financial crisis. In the 2010s, companies tried but failed to connect this data in large data lakes. Yet today, the majority of that data remains siloed and unanalyzed. In the 2020s, all that will change. Banks will connect their data silos using large, decentralized networks of machine learning nodes. We're Jensen, and we're decentralizing machine learning. We're taking models to the data, not data to the models. And this is only possible due to turn-of-the-decade breakthroughs in differential privacy and federated machine learning. And it goes beyond anti-money laundering. Industries as diverse as reinsurance, material science, and healthcare all have data silo problems that ruin model performance. Indeed, our first pilots are with a tier 1 bank and a global chemical company. My CTO and co-founder, Dr. Ben Fielding, has a PhD and publications in automatic deep learning, and he was the founding CEO of a B2B privacy startup. I'm Harry, I'm the CEO, and I led the data team from seed to Series B at a high-growth risk pricing insurtech. I've also sold enterprise AI solutions to some of the world's largest financial companies. We're also joined by a world-leading team of AI and industry experts. We're Jensen, we're decentralizing machine learning, and we're raising our seed round.
Crew is the world's first truly mass-scale live product for fitness, an end-to-end platform for anyone to meet fitness and health professionals anytime, anywhere, and train with them. Post-COVID, only 13% of people plan to go back to the gym as usual. 87% are either canceling or adding an online option to their routine. This will cost the industry $10 billion in cancellations in the US alone. And this trend is here to stay. 80% of people want to keep working from home, at least partially, even after lockdown. These people will need a place to meet their fitness trainers. Remote fitness and health are a high-growth, fragmented industries. They're predicted to be worth $50 billion in just a couple of years. And online is great for healthy competition, community, variety, and price. That's why we built an end-to-end platform that delivers fitness-specific gamification and community. We're built on 2 core differentiators: live streams, of which we can do millions concurrently for free to us at extremely high quality, which allows us to be truly mass scale, and AI, like motion tracking for pose correction or for leaderboards. Think Peloton without the need for a $3,000 bike. Again, all of this for free to us and at extremely high performance. My name is Jose. I'm the CEO of Crew. I have 7 university degrees. I helped launch consumer products at Google. I wrote consumer and digital growth strategies at McKinsey, used to compete in CrossFit, which I only managed to do after overcoming major health issues, thanks to finding the right community and coaches, which taught me their importance. 4 months in, and together we built a fully functional and branded product with 400 people in the waitlist. Our beta users love us.
I love using it. It's a great platform to bring all of my classes together.
My students love it so far because of all the fitness features. They find it more exciting than Zoom.
I really love to use Crew for my coaching session. It's just amazing.
I think it's amazing. Saved me so much time.
As do the thousands of people who voted us to be Product of the Day and Product of the Week on Product Hunt, and the tens of thousands who visited our site even prior to launch. We're Crew, and we will be the platform of choice for remote fitness and health.
Mark Stokes here, CEO of MagDrive, where we're developing the next generation of satellite propulsion. Almost 100 years ago, the jet engine was born, and with it, humanity conquered the skies. Being able to travel thousands of miles in hours radically transformed logistics, manufacturing, and modern life. Today, we stand on the brink of a new space age. Companies are launching mega constellations of thousands of satellites and are seriously looking at orbital manufacturing and asteroid mining. But these ambitions are out of reach because satellite propulsion isn't good enough. It's either extremely inefficient or extremely slow. And at up to $30,000 per kilogram to launch a satellite, the cost of these ambitious business models is prohibitive and simply beyond the capabilities of current propulsion. This is a market crying out for a new solution. Satellite propulsion is already valued at $5 billion globally and is set to increase to $20 billion by 2030. MagDrive is developing brand new hardware with a miniaturized and powerful thruster. Just like the jet engine transformed aerospace, MagDrive will transform the space industry. We do this with a high-density propellant, burned 100 times hotter than a rocket and contained with magnetic fields. This improves efficiency so much that satellites can reduce the fuel they need by up to 90%, massively reducing launch costs, saving our customers millions of dollars per satellite. MagDrive will be working with customers to integrate with their satellites and to test this hardware in space. We can do this because we already have working prototypes. By solving propulsion, MagDrive will enable entirely new markets that are uncapped in value and become the primary provider to government agencies like the European Space Agency and to industry primes like Lockheed Martin, who are actively supporting our technology development. We're not just throwing science at the walls here. I'm a mechanical and machine learning engineer. I've spent my career in startups, in deep tech and aerospace. MagDrive's CTO, Dr. Thomas Clayson, is a plasma astrophysicist and pulse power electrical engineer who has the skills and experience to design and build our first prototypes. We've established our lab here at the European Space Agency Incubator. We've raised $100,000 in grant funding, and we're working with the University of Southampton to use state-of-the-art test facilities. We're now seeking funding to develop our prototypes into an engineering model, to be shortlisted for customer missions. Like the jet engine that changed the world, MagDrive will be the catalyst for a new space age.
Hi, I'm Chris and this is CJ. We're the founders of Obi. We bring digital designs to the physical world. So one defense contractor was designing a new type of tank for the military. They got to the point of building a physical version of the tank, which took them 2 years, only for their client to come and see it and say that 1, the seat was so high that people over 6 foot couldn't sit in it, and 2, the turret was too small so people couldn't even get in and out. Even if you don't know much about tank design, you can probably tell that this isn't ideal. This cost the firm 2 years in the design process, over £10 million, and completely ruined their reputation with customers. This is just one example of a long, expensive prototyping process causing problems. In both of our careers, we've seen this time and time again with things like a luxury yacht where you can't access the waste tank, a £2 million conference room which ended up being useless, and our personal favourite, cupboards without handles. Errors like these cost engineering firms over £8 billion per year in the US and Europe alone.
Our software allows you to prototype designs using augmented reality. So one of our customers, as you can see here, is trying to understand how a rocket engine nozzle will be installed and maintained. They're already using our product to view the design to scale in their physical space with just a mobile phone. Soon, they'll be able to interact with the design like their end user would and populate the reality with digital humans to test how different types of people will fit within the design. This is game-changing for 2 reasons. First of all, instead of it taking months, or in the case of the tank, years, to build a physical prototype, engineers can now test designs in 1 day. Secondly, it helps engineers spot errors in the design process very early, which replaces the need for physical prototypes, saving huge amounts of money and time whilst improving engineering firms' reputations with clients.
I'm the CEO. I used to be a technology specialist at McLaren and a systems engineer at Hawkeye. Hawkeye is the world leader in computer vision and AR products in sport.
I'm the CTO. I have a PhD in augmented and virtual reality from UCL. Before that, I was a mechanical design engineer, helping design products for the luxury, commercial, and defense sectors. We've both worked in roles where this product would have saved us a huge amount of time and made our lives a lot easier.
We've already released the first version of our product. We have 10 pilots and £7,000 in monthly revenue. CJ and I fundamentally believe that digital designs need to be brought to the physical world. If you're interested in joining us on this journey, get in touch and let's have a conversation.
Every year, 630,000 square kilometers of farmland are used to grow crops for biofuels. That's enough land to feed 600 million people, 75% of all the people that go to bed hungry each night. Because biofuels are the only proven technology to reduce the carbon footprint of industries like aviation and shipping, their use is set to triple by 2030. Now, the most sustainable and scalable form of biofuel is made from algae. Algae are microscopic organisms that are at the base of every food chain. They don't need agricultural land to grow. They don't even need clean water. And they're 100 times more efficient than trees at absorbing CO2 and turning it into useful molecules like fuel. The issue is that they're too expensive. They cost too much to grow, they cost too much to process, and that's where PhycoBloom comes in. We're here to make sure that the best biofuel for the planet is the best biofuel for people's wallets as well. PhycoBloom are using synthetic biology to make algae more productive and more sustainable. We're changing how they function so that rather than just storing oil and getting fat, they actually release it into their surroundings where it can be cheaply and easily collected. Right now, we're building our prototype, and that's going to let us secure our IP. IP that will mean we own and exploit the only economic route to using algae to produce biofuels. We're then going to license that IP to algae farmers, giving them access to a market which, even in 2020, is in excess of £50 billion. The founding team of PhycoBloom have both the technical skills to build this and the industry knowledge to make sure it's fit for purpose in a rapidly changing world. My name's John. I'm a material scientist. I did my DPhil at Oxford, working with the best and the brightest in sustainable energy. My co-founder, Ian, he's the biologist. He did his PhD at Cambridge in evolutionary biology, and he's got over 10 years experience working with algae and synthetic biology. And this year, in fact, he's co-author on a Nature Methods paper, which is effectively the biggest ever explanation of how to engineer marine organisms. He has the exact skill set to build this product. We are PhycoBloom, and we're here to turn the oil industry green.
We are solving demand forecasting in an industry desperately in need of change. Clothing production accounts for as much CO2 emissions annually as aviation and global shipping combined. 15% of clothes never get sold. That's $400 billion that ends up straight in landfill every year. And at the same time, brands lose out on $600 billion of revenue on high demand products that prematurely sell out. The fashion industry is broken and is losing $1 trillion annually from poor demand forecasting. That said, demand forecasting and price optimization is a hard problem to solve, closer to F1 aerodynamics than secondary school maths. However, today, it's done by merchandising teams who have little to no mathematical training and as such, fall back on extremely manual and gut-based forecasting. It doesn't have to be like this. Brands sit on a wealth of data with untapped predictive capacity. As an industry, Fashion only trails manufacturing in the number of data points recorded each day. At Prewarp, we are helping brands waste less. Waste less fabric, waste less time, and ultimately, waste less money. Our platform delivers real-time outputs that enable users to identify high-demand products in time to better set prices, improve returns on end-of-life discounts by automating manual processes, and finally, to produce to exact demand, meaning fewer clothes in landfill. We do this by applying recent advances in machine learning and optimization to brands' internal data sets, and coupling this with proprietary data shown to improve demand forecasting accuracy by north of 50%. Data we developed with the world's leading demand forecasting professor from Harvard, who is also a member of our board. I'm Tom Barber, CEO of Prewarp, and I've spent the majority of my career at the intersection of fashion and technology. Most recently, scaling a fashion predictive analytics company in Europe from 0 to over $2 million in ARR in 12 months. My co-founder and CTO, Tom Walker, has spent the last decade working at the cutting edge of AI and mathematical optimization. Firstly, at Ferrari F1, where his race-winning designs were copied across the grid, and most recently, developing and deploying machine learning models at a leading fintech company. Within just 4 months, we are already operational with customers, processing £3 billion worth of sales information and north of 30,000 products, with a further dozen customers, £1 million of ARR in the pipeline. We're raising a seed round to service this demand, to build a scalable platform to serve the next wave of fashion brands, and we're really looking forward to discussing more with you.
Spotted Zebra, we're a future of work company that helps hiring managers make better talent decisions. Around 100,000 people will start a new job in the UK every single week. Half of those will fail. Our unique insight, 90% of those failures are because of misaligned soft skills. Nick is the Chief Customer Officer, and he's an expert in the field. He was previously CEO of SHL, the £200 million market leader in pre-hire assessments. I've personally set up and sold 2 tech businesses, the most recent of which was a £12 million VC-backed business which I sold to Travis Perkins. Bringing our combined experience to bear, we identified 3 exciting things about this problem. Firstly, it's a huge market. Around a third of all UK enterprises currently use non-technical pre-hire assessments. They spend an astonishing £7 billion a year, with contract values up to £5 million. Secondly, the existing solutions are broken. These assessments haven't changed much in 20 years and do not solve the soft skills problem. They use the same generic assessment across all roles, delivering management reports that are 15 pages long and meaningless to hiring managers. This problem's so bad, the biggest and best companies resort to expensive HR management consultants for their most important roles. And third, timing. COVID has accelerated the shift to remote working. Location is no longer a barrier to hiring, meaning some of our clients have experienced a 1,000% increase in applications per role. Nick has been delivering online assessment and HR management consulting solutions for the last 20 years. Our approach is to combine his proprietary soft skills framework and 4-step approach into one SaaS solution that does 2 things. Firstly, we help hiring managers identify what soft skills are required for success in a role. And secondly, we quickly assess candidates against those specific skills. Nick and I have made fantastic progress in the 4 months in which we've been working on this. We've got 8 clients from the likes of Standard Chartered Bank and Unilever Upfield. We've generated over 20k in revenue, proving our business model at £300 per hire. We've closed an angel investment round. We've got a full-time team of 8 people working on this that have delivered an MVP into our clients. We've got clients giving us onward customer referrals, meaning that customers are pulling the solution out of us. In the future, the Spotted Zebra skills record will be as vital to hiring managers as the CV is today. You'll go to LinkedIn to find out what a candidate has done, but you'll come to Spotted Zebra to find out what skills enabled them to do it.
Hi, I'm Alice, and I'm the CEO of The Lowdown. We're transforming women's health, starting with contraception. I started taking the pill over 15 years ago. It completely changed my personality. It made me feel depressed and emotional, which impacted my relationships and my ability to do my job. When it comes to contraception, I'm one of millions of women who are overwhelmed by choice, experience devastating side effects from the wrong method, and can't get access to the expert medical advice they need. Contraception is something almost every woman you know has had to think about, and 1 in 3 of us have had an experience like mine. So last year, I decided enough's enough. Women deserve better. I built and launched The Lowdown, the world's first review platform for contraception. It went viral, and now 45,000 women come to us every month. We have collected over 200,000 data points on how their contraception is impacting them. We're using our unique data set, medical experts, and our growing community to help build a platform that helps the 1 billion women worldwide choose, access, and use the right method for them. Contraception as a service, a paid subscription that saves women time, hassle, and embarrassment. By winning here, we'll be in prime position to give women the lowdown on all aspects of their health, from menstruation to menopause, and in doing so, capture part of the $500 billion global women's healthcare market. I have spent the last 3 years talking to thousands of women about their contraception. I know exactly what problems they have and how the Lowdown can build a platform that revolutionises this space. On EF, I've met my co-founder and CTO, David. He was former head of growth at the Tab, which he grew to over 5 million monthly active users. And he has a proven ability to grow and scale community-based B2C startups. Together, we know this is exactly the right time to do this. The UK has cut 26% of its contraception services in the last 3 years. And COVID is creating contraception chaos, which is projected to lead to 7 million unintended pregnancies. Join us in transforming women's health, starting with contraception.
Hi, I'm Emilia, CEO of Themia. Mental illness is rising at an alarming rate, but the current system of assessing it is inherently flawed and outdated by almost 80 years. Right now, assessing depression involves highly subjective questionnaires that produce inaccurate results. What's more, they need to be administered in person. This means that finding the right treatment is based entirely on trial and error and can take years, wasting billions of pounds on the wrong medication in the process. Others have tried to revolutionize this space using voice analysis, but unfortunately, real-world data is just too noisy to model that way. We're here to change that. Our online platform empowers clinicians so they can assess depression faster, more accurately, and objectively. To maximize our accuracy, we don't just analyze one input stream, but 3. We analyze voice and video games. Our video games are based on neuropsychology, and they target attention and memory and other cognitive deficits associated with depression. At the same time, our machine learning models analyze facial microexpressions and speech patterns, dissecting both how somebody sounds and what they are saying. This multimodal system allows us to find the right treatment in weeks instead of years, and it also makes the whole process enjoyable for the patient. We also open up access to everyone who, for whatever reason, has to stay at home. In the UK alone, there are over 12 million psychiatric appointments per year, each costing on average £300. If we charge a 5% fee per appointment, accessing just a fraction of these generates hundreds of millions in annual revenue. As for our customers, every single psychiatrist we have spoken to, 100% of them, want to use our product. We are starting pilots in October to gather data from over 5,000 appointments, with the potential to grow to over 100,000 appointments within 2021. Already, we have released our first proprietary video game with full regulatory approval. We have gathered the control group data that will allow us to run our pilots. We're also collaborating with world-leading experts across UCL, King's College, and the Alan Turing Institute. Dr. Stefano Goria, my CTO, has a PhD in theoretical physics, and for the past 8 years has worked as a quantitative analyst in some of the world's largest banks. He has built the same machine learning algorithms that we are using in our product today, and is uniquely positioned to not only build our platform, but to also analyze all of our data streams together. I'm a domain expert in this area with a PhD from UCL in neuroscience and linguistics. For the past 11 years, I've worked with both healthy and patient populations using language as a biomarker for their cognition. There are fewer than 10 people in the world who do exactly what I do, and they're all currently in academia. We are Themia, and we are making mental health assessment smart.
Right now, we are working with a logistics company that is managing over 1,000 trucks every day. They have no understanding whether or when their truck arrived to the warehouse, or if the loading will take a day or an hour. On the other side, warehouse managers are running around all day responding to emails and phone calls to be able to manage this delivery process. Now, this is not just happening for them. This is a daily reality for 150,000 warehouses and 600,000 carrier companies in Europe alone. For warehouses, it is time-consuming and highly ineffective to create these schedules with the current tools, and it results into high costs, and they're not able to make the full use of the warehouse. For carriers, it is a constant fear of paying high fines for arriving late or being stuck at the warehouse, which causes a domino effect for other deliveries. These huge inefficiencies lead to costs of over 30 billion euros in Europe alone. At Byways, we are finally providing the missing link between warehouses and carriers. Our SaaS product enables warehouses to finally streamline their delivery process, creates the real-time communication with carriers, and allows them to make the full use of their warehouse. We are driving cost savings of at least 70,000 euros per year per warehouse. We are already live with 3 pilot customers, leading European logistics companies, where Byways is managing more than 600 deliveries every month. Along the process, we are creating the largest dataset of warehousing operations, which will allow us to make the vision a reality, a fully automated planning system for logistics and supply chain. Simon is a machine learning expert. His PhD was focused on vehicle travel time predictions in dynamic environments. He also spent 2 years in Silicon Valley as a researcher, and for the past 6 years, he was managing tech teams and delivering solutions for the next generation vehicles at Volkswagen Research. Logistics was always a big part of my life. I started working at warehouses at the age of 14, and most recently, I was the head of product at Sender, a logistics Series C startup in Berlin, where I was shipping solutions used by over 10,000 warehouses and carriers across Europe. Together, we are building a fully automated planning system for logistics and supply chain.
B2B wholesale is a $12 trillion industry. We've spoken to over 400 brands, and they've all talked about one common pain point. 80% of their time is spent on manual door-to-door sales, from phone calls to emails. Even the most advanced brands are using Typeform to receive orders. And if this wasn't enough, COVID has only made things worse. We are Playback, a video platform that's disrupting the age-old wholesale industry. Traditional wholesalers can finally connect with retailers online using videos to showcase their products and close orders. Imagine a YouTube-like experience. One of our first customers, Alana, is using our platform in 3 ways. She's able to use our website plugin to stream live content directly on her website. With our analytics dashboard, you can track KPIs, engage with customers in real-time chats, and update your product catalog. And finally, using our mobile app, you're able to stream content directly on your website. And Alana is not alone. We have over 20 brands that have signed with us, paying double-digit commissions. We believe that the future of e-commerce lies in video, And at Playback, we want to become the B2B version of QVC for wholesale. I feel very fortunate to have met Kanan, my co-founder and CTO. He's a true tech leader with over 12 years of experience in the industry. He was the first VP of engineering at Grover, a B2B e-commerce startup, where he built the platform and grew it over 1,200% in less than 2 years. And I've spent the last 15 years leading large teams globally at BCG and WeWork. I've interacted with Fortune 50 CEOs across B2B sales, omni-channel strategy, and e-commerce due diligence. More importantly, I'm personally passionate about the space because I've seen my dad run a small business. Together, Kanan and I are on a mission to help wholesalers enter the digital age.
Over 10% of the world's CO2 emissions come from heating and cooling buildings, and that grows at a faster pace than any other sector. Still, 2/3 of that energy consumption is wasted due to inefficiencies, such as poor insulation, outdated equipment, or manual processes. That results in high emissions, user discomfort, and a loss of over 60 billion euros every year for large commercial buildings alone. Currently, improving building thermal efficiency is expensive, complex, and it takes years. At Thermosphere, we make building thermal optimization available as a plug-and-play SaaS. Our digital twin technology can model the thermodynamics and improve the energy efficiency of a building throughout its whole life cycle. Where others see only the temperature of a room, we see a physical system with heat transfers. Whether from the sun shining in or the people present in the room, we are able to predict how events convert into a temperature variation. Our initial product is a SaaS that controls the heating and cooling equipment in real time. It can achieve 30% cost savings in just a few days using existing building data. For a mid-sized shopping center, that translates into over €500,000 saved every year. And to prove it, we're launching already pilots with major players in Europe. Ultimately, we aim to become the go-to operating system when it comes to making buildings sustainable. From controlling daily operations to planning upgrades or capital-intensive renovations, we can make any building the smarter version of itself by turning its inefficiencies into green assets. I am an experienced startup CEO. In my previous company, I have raised over 4 million euros, led a team of 40 people, and generated 7 million euros in revenue. For years, I have been managing B2B sales teams, including at Rocket Internet, where I handled portfolios of thousands of clients, which will be key in scaling our business. My co-founder, Aaron, has over 15 years of experience developing thermal optimization solutions, starting with his PhD at the National University of Singapore, then as an engineer at NASA, General Electric, and BMW. The technology he has developed over the past years is at the core of our business. We are Thermosphere, and we are making buildings smarter and more sustainable.
At the moment, half of all seafood comes from aquaculture or fish farming. Globally, this amounts to a $180 billion market. By 2030, that will be closer to $300 billion. But there's a catch. Fish farming can be both filthy and inefficient. Mortality rates can approach 50%, and in some instances, the entire output of farms can be lost to diseases. Compounding the problem is that conventional sources of nutrition and treatment can be massively polluting, undoing any environmental gains achieved by aquaculture overcapture fisheries. But it doesn't have to be this way. If done properly, aquaculture can contribute to global food security and deliver healthy sources of micronutrients and proteins with minimal environmental impact. Biofine will make existing solutions better. In the simplest sense, we're creating a feed additive. This ingredient is added to fish feed just like any other. But beneath the surface is a powerful technology, one we've borrowed from human biomedicine, where there have been decades of science and tens of billions of dollars spent on research and development. This science has enabled us to create a specialized encapsulation system that protects existing ingredients and amplifies their effect. Nutrients and medicines hit their targets better, and they do so using a fraction of the amount used in traditional feed. Our results show that with this technology, we can considerably improve the therapeutic benefit of existing nutrients and medicines. This translates to more and healthier fish for farmers, more demand for sustainable ingredients, and more nutrition for a growing global population that cares about their health and the environment. Our founding team has experience in finance, sustainability, and biotechnology. Umberto, our nanoscientist, has a PhD in materials science and has worked across Europe developing nanocapsules for use in human biomedicine, and additionally has studied at NCED. Marie has a PhD in molecular biology and worked for a decade in private investment, where she started a science investment program and has additionally started 2 startups. I myself am a medical doctor and spent nearly a decade at the World Bank, where I ran programs in sustainability, climate change, fisheries, health, and aquaculture. We've secured $360,000 in pre-seed finance from Entrepreneur First, IndieBio, and the European Union. We're raising an additional $1.5 million to get our first industrial product to market. Let's do this together. Please help us, help Biofin, make better feed for better fish. Thank you.
In the biotech space, clean meat and cell therapy are 2 of the most exciting and booming industries. And surprisingly, both suffer from the exact same problem. To reach their potential, they both need a radical decrease in the cost of their main ingredient, a special kind of molecule called growth factors. With an average price of €2 million per gram, growth factors are a total drain on the resources of our customers, representing up to 90% of the total cost of their finished product. At Core Biogenesis, we use plants as biofactories to produce growth factors 10 times cheaper. We leverage CRISPR gene editing to modify our plants to have them produce growth factors at a 25x higher yield. For our customers, our technology represents a radical solution. We just signed a €250,000 contract with a big pharma company to develop our technology. And we are in advanced discussions with more than 15 top companies in the space that are impatiently waiting to test our molecules. And the opportunity is massive. Starting next year, as clean meat and cell therapy will start entering the market, the need for growth factors will increase exponentially. So in 5 years from now, if we can be the preferred supplier of growth factors for clean meat and cell therapy, we will be the leader of a multiple billion-dollar market. My co-founder and CTO, Shoaib, has a PhD in plant genetics and a postdoc in plant epigenetics. He is one of the rare scientists to combine an expertise in gene editing and plant epigenetics. I am Alex, the CEO of Core Biogenesis. My background in biotechnology and project management allows me to make the bridge between our cutting-edge science and the needs of the market. Together, with our 2 world-class advisors, we are on a mission to accelerate the development of clean meat and cell therapy. If you want to join us in this mission, please get in touch.
The hedge fund industry is going through a profound transformation. Financial data was rare 30 years ago. Now it is abundant. This transformation has led hedge funds to split in 2 categories. The first category has leveraged this profusion of data to automate their investment process. These companies cut their costs and improve their returns by developing their own AI tools. But they remain a minority. The second category, called fundamental hedge funds represent 70% of investment companies, but they remain stuck in their old paradigm. They have considered data as a cost of doing business rather than an opportunity. And they spend $10 billion annually on outdated financial analysis tools. They are under increasing pressure from their own clients to lower their fees and improve their returns. Therefore, fund managers have become aware that their business is threatened and they need to adapt. At Invest Insight, we believe that these funds, which manage $61 trillion, are not dead. They have strong expertise and network and we will empower them through AI. We'll make our clients' analysis workflow scalable, dividing by 10 its duration, from 90 to 9 days. Our software is able to automatically read, filter, and structure key data to investment decision. So, where does the data come from? That's the beauty of it. Our solution is directly plugged into the data sources our clients use in their analysis. For instance, annual reports, broker notes, even Bloomberg Terminal. Our unique combination of econometrics models and AI finally unlocks the potential of data of fundamental hedge funds. It offers them structured insights on demand, like sentiment analysis, shipped in a user-friendly interface. Once we have shortened the analysis workflow, we'll sell to our clients automated investment strategies. And finally, we'll use our metadata to improve our analysis. Our approach has already convinced 2 investment companies' CEOs to join us as advisors, and we're in process of signing our first partnerships. Hugo, our CTO, holds a PhD in quantitative finance. He has worked as an investment analyst in 3 different hedge funds, and he spent 8 years building AI models and econometrics algorithms to select and classify financial data. As for me, Jean-Régis, I am the CEO of Invest Insight. I created my first startup 5 years ago and sold it. For the last 3 years, I have led sales at Theodo for AI projects. We are Invest Insight, and we help traditional investment players to transform through AI and econometrics.
Gaming and filmmaking studios are producing more and more fresh content. But fresh content means fresh characters, and these characters need to be animated. This need for 3D animation is the biggest bottleneck for studios. It represents about 1/3 of their costs, and it will amount to more than $150 billion by 2025. Animating is tedious and very time-consuming. If I am an animator and I want to produce only 1 minute of video, it will take me more than 4 weeks of work to do it, because I have to manually animate every single movement, image by image. With only 2 million animators working today, the industry needs to double its talent pool just to absorb the increasing demand. We are Kinetics, and it's our mission to make 3D animation faster and more accessible. Our AI SaaS automate 80% of the manual work involved in 3D animation and turns this 4 weeks of work into less than a week, allowing our customers, the gaming and filmmaking studios, to produce better content faster. But how does it work? Look at me standing, jumping, or even spinning. Our AI algorithms have been trained to recognize any kind of movement and map them into this 3D character, and it can be directly exported into the animator's workflow. The good thing is that we can do this at scale for any kind of movement. With the same demo of our technology, we managed to grow a community of more than 1,000 animators working for some of the biggest studios, such as Ubisoft, Activision, and DreamWorks. They're all in the waitlist to test our beta that is available now. A very recent breakthrough in deep learning finally allow the extraction of 3D animation. And my co-founder and CTO Henry is one of the only people in the world that is able to manage the different bricks to create this technology. He worked in leading startup for facial animation, where he conducted research in deep learning, and he also worked for the 3D department of Dassault Systèmes. As for myself, I have a background in strategy consulting, where I led AI projects, and in venture capital, where we invested in multiple SaaS businesses. I also launched one of the biggest tech recruiting events in France, so I know how to build and grow a community. We are Kinetics, and it's our mission to make 3D animation accessible for all the creative minds.
Hi, we're LiveCrew, a SaaS that provides retailers with unprecedented consumer insights from their stores. Why is physical retail losing share to e-commerce for years? Because e-commerce has all of the data to adapt to consumer needs. Retailers are in a fight for their survival, because consumer needs are changing faster than ever, and they're losing 17% of their turnover due to bad inventory decisions and wrong products. Top-performing retailers like Zara are adapting faster by collecting in-store data on a daily basis. But most other retailers, they don't know how to collect and use in-store data without creating friction for their customers and complexity for themselves. At LiveCrew, we believe the solution is simple, and it relies on an asset retailers already have, the salespeople, or the crew as we call them. We've designed a crew app, a tool used to gather qualified insights from the salespeople. Think about it. The salespeople have all of the information. They interact with customers day in, day out. They know who is buying what and why, and more importantly, they know who is leaving the store empty-handed and why. Yet no one gathers that information systematically. Our crew app allows salespeople to answer short 30-second interviews on their phone after each relevant consumer interaction. We collect all of that consumer feedback, and we apply ML and data mining to uncover unprecedented insights. We provide retailers with a retail cockpit so they could view the results. And merchants, for example, are able to adapt the product assortment. Product developers are able to develop even better products thanks to deep insights into what their consumers think about their products. We could save our target retailers $90 billion in better inventory and better product decisions. We've launched our POC a few days ago in Paris. We're collecting data, and we're now verifying our tech. We'll have a second POC shortly to be able to refine our SaaS. And so we believe by end of November, we will be able to have our first paying customers to enter this industry with a bang. And let me tell you a little bit about us. Fred, our CTO, has a PhD in social robotics and is an expert in AI. He's specialized in detecting weak signals to create actionable insights. He's developed our crew app and our retail cockpit. On my side, I was general manager for various Samsonite brands. I was developing products, their advertising, and also running the retail network. So I could see firsthand how important it was to get the right consumer data to take the big decisions. So join us on the journey to help retailers have unprecedented consumer insights from their stores.
We are Rumble Studio, a SaaS that lets content marketers record and create audio content as quickly as a blog post. Today, podcasts, voice assistants, and voice search are all mainstream, and we are rapidly entering a voice-first world. And as attention moves from the eyes to the ears, marketing budgets are shifting too, with podcast marketing spend growing at 30% CAGR. However, many companies complain that creating audio content today has poor ROI. And the reason is because today's tools are slow and costly to use. They have to schedule the guest, record the conversation, painstakingly edit that audio, and then promote the content. And all in all, it can take up to 10 hours to produce a single hour of audio. Now, large companies outsource this effort to expensive agencies, paying 5 or 6-figure sums and still waiting weeks for their content. However, smaller companies simply don't have the time or the money to produce audio content like that, and so they miss out on sales. Right now, there's a huge opportunity to exploit the latent demand for audio content creation. Rumble Studio is the first ever product to record guest interviews using conversational AI. Just send your guests a link and the machine asks the questions on your behalf, and then edits the audio. Now, small to medium-sized businesses like B2B SaaS can quickly and affordably record and publish audio for marketing. With Rumble, businesses acquire more leads and close more deals. And you know what? Our audio is SEO friendly, driving even more traffic to our customers. Our CTO Joris won the award for Best PhD in AI and Machine Learning from the country's top school, École Polytechnique, and has been developing full-stack applications for the past 15 years for industry giants like EDF. Joris has single-handedly built our live MVP, which now has 13 paid pilot customers, over 300 registered users, and a growing number of paying subscribers, generating real monthly recurring revenue. And I'm Carl, the CEO. I'm an experienced podcaster in the domain of voice technology, so I've experienced the pain that we solve firsthand. What's more, I've leveraged my extensive network for early sales. Before that, I led the product team at a chatbot startup. I'm a published voice AI data scientist, and I've had one successful startup exit. We are Rumble Studio, the content marketing platform for audio. Let's have a conversation.
Financial institutions, online gaming, and mobility services have one thing in common. They are all facing the same new regulatory requirements to authenticate their client's identity. In the physical world, you simply ask your client to show their ID card. But what about online? How do you ensure that the person behind the screen are really who they claim to be? Today, our customers are offered either weak or strong solutions. Weak solutions like passwords or even two-factor authentication are not compliant with regulations like ADAS or PSD2. On top of that, they are responsible for a $6 billion annual loss for credit institutions. On the other hand, strong solutions like multi-factor authentications are compliant but very expensive, costing up to $2.6 million a year per client. Worse, those solutions create a terrible user experience responsible for 35% of client abandonment. By 2025, this will represent a market opportunity of $33 billion, yet poorly served today as there is no significant incumbent leading the way to identity authentication or re-authentication. At ShareID, we have built an identity authentication as a service solution, allowing businesses to remotely authenticate their clients in less than 3 seconds. Let me walk you through our customer use case. John receives a credit request made online by one of his clients, Anna. To process it in compliance with regulations, he will have to verify her identity. So he will ask her different questions, including the name of her favorite book, an answer that Anna provided at her account opening and does not even remember. So John will not be able to process her request on time, which is terrible for Anna. At best, she feels frustrated by her bank, and at worst, she leaves the bank. With ShareID, she would have received an identity authentication request through her bank app and would have validated her identity in seconds. This sounds simple, but to achieve simplicity is hard. We leverage cutting-edge computer vision algorithms to authenticate the identity documents and verify the user. On top of that, we use our patented public key infrastructure to issue a reusable digital identity, enabling fast identity authentication and re-authentication. My co-founder, Susan, holds a PhD in computer vision. During her time at Cisco, she developed impressive skills in deep learning applied to biometrics, which provide us with necessary skills to build a robust solution. On my side, I have 9 years' experience as a risk manager within financial institutions. I have a deep understanding of the regulatory requirements that face our customers, and I have previously co-founded 2 fintech startups. Together, we have what it takes to build a great venture. We are ShareID, we enable digital trust.
Hello, I'm Albert, and I'm the CEO of Snello. We help companies organize remote working to optimize their office space. With COVID, remote working is booming. the number of days worked remotely is expected to increase by a factor of 6, and so therefore is the amount of unutilized office space. This represents an unprecedented opportunity for companies to downsize their office and save money on their lease. However, having fewer desks than your total number of employees and a workforce spread out across many locations requires complex planning, taking into account simultaneously multiple factors. Who should work where and when? How do you ensure you never exceed capacity? We've met with dozens of HR and office managers, and they've all told us the same thing. Using spreadsheets to solve this issue is simply not sufficient and extremely time-consuming. At Snello, we help HR managers easily organize remote and on-site work based on both companies and individual constraints. In one click, employees can see their schedule and enter their preferences on when to come to the office. They can also book or change desks and see at any time who is where. In addition, HR managers and business leaders can adapt their remote working policy to the requirement of each department. Time spent together within teams, frequency and rotation rule for remote working days, business priorities, and of course, the level of flexibility given to individuals. A unique optimization model then takes over and dynamically recommends the most adapted occupancy planning. Each year, companies are spending €500 billion for space they're actually not using. Ultimately, we want to help them save that money by reorganizing their workforce. I'm a second-time entrepreneur and worked at Google for 10 years, where I ended up leading a vertical of the Android apps team. My co-founder and CTO, Valerio, has a PhD in statistical physics. His expertise is essential to developing the core of our planning optimization algorithms. Remote working is transforming the way companies think about workspaces. At Snello, we want to drive that change by organizing workforces, making offices more flexible and better distributed.